What's up everybody, it's Dex. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Between the Spreadsheets. Today I'm going to be talking you through some of my personal investments, some of the ones that I got right, which they did really well, and then some that I really got wrong. So let's get straight into it. First company that I invested in is called Snapchat. I made the decision to invest in it the very first day that they offered it at the IPO, initial public offering price, which was like $24, and that was a mistake. Now the one thing I'm not going to tell you guys in this video, I'm not going to tell you how many I bought, right? So that's going to have to be a secret. But I bought Snap for $24. After about 6 months or so, the stock had like sank because there was certain things that they hadn't thought about with like their stories, and then I think Instagram stories took off and like different technology things. So it had dropped all the way to like $7. And honestly, I just panicked. But I did believe in the company. I invested in it because I personally liked it. But I had paid $24 a share for it, and I didn't wait it out longer because it had dropped so much. So I sold it for $7 and I ate the loss. I would say that's a bad decision that I made because as of Friday last week, Snap is like $34 a share. I could have been in the standpoint of making $10 if I just would have kept it and I didn't panic. So lesson learned with that, if you do believe in a company where you're gonna actually invest in it at the IPO price, why not keep it for the long term? So I should have did that. The next company is a totally different story because this one is doing really well for me, and it's called Square. And if you don't know much about Square, Square owns Cash App. I bought Square at $37. I bought some about a year ago at $37, and then I actually bought some more at the beginning of COVID in like March at like $34. As of Friday, this stock is now worth $154. $37 to $154, that's like amazing. I'm thinking to hold it even longer because I know at some point we're not gonna be using cash at all. So I believe in Cash App or virtual currency type stuff. But it's kind of hard to not take your profits now when you bought something for 37 and it's 150 something, right? So I'm still thinking about that. You guys can let me know what you think. Maybe leave some comments at the bottom. The next company I'm gonna tell you about that's actually doing well for me is called ADS, Alliance Data Systems. And essentially they do a lot of analysis and they provide data to like royalty, reward type companies. If you fly a lot, they always have like reward miles or like promotions for credit cards. ADS is one of those companies that pulls all of the demographic data together to kind of go to JetBlue or go to Delta and say, this is who you should be marketing their programs for. I say all of that because if you think about COVID-19, that's the type of company that's gonna really do bad because nobody's flying, nobody's going to the movies. All of these kind of loyalty reward programs, they just went to crap because no one's doing anything. The stock, I bought it for $38. And I want you guys to actually look at one of my previous videos where I talk about looking into how a company's done over the last year. I look at it as growth potential. So even though I know that ADS is a company that's doing terrible and it's probably not gonna do well for the foreseeable future until COVID-19 and stuff changes, I looked and said this stock was about $170 at some point during the year, and right before March it was like $130. So when I saw it in like May for 30 something, I had to buy it and I bought a lot. The stock now as of Friday is $52, which under this environment, that's really good. And I think for the long term, this might be one of the best investments that I've made. The next company I'm gonna tell you about is actually another bad decision that I made. And you'll see the theme, unfortunately, with both of my bad decisions is like a little bit of panic, like paranoia a little bit. So the next company I bought was something called Amarin. If you haven't heard of Amarin, they have one drug, which is called Vascapa. It's a fish oil that's supposed to help with like cardiovascular disease and kind of help you to have a healthy heart. So I bought a lot of this stock at like $4.50. Anytime you invest in pharmaceutical companies, there's a risk. There's testing that they have to do. There's different levels and approvals with the FDA that they have to go through. The reason I was able to buy it at $4.80 is because a lot of these things were still in progress. Amarin at one point last year was about $27 a share. I didn't sell it. I didn't do anything. I held it. I believed in the long-term potential of the company. It could be even bigger than that. With pharmaceutical companies, there's always a risk of generic brands. Now, Amarin, unfortunately, I found myself a month ago looking at a stock that was only worth about $5.20. The reason for that drop from 27 to $5.20 is because a generic brand essentially went ahead and created their own generic, cheaper version of Ameren. Ameren went forward and had a lawsuit against that brand trying to stop all operations, and they lost. I ended up selling it for $4.90. So I really kind of broke even on it. I didn't really make any money. I would say that what I learned from that investment is maybe I should have left my money in there for the long term if I still believe in it. Always stay up to date with current news, regulations, testing status, all of these kind of things if you ever want to invest in the pharmaceutical and kind of healthcare drug industry. The last company and stock that I'm gonna talk to you about that I invested in that is doing well is RCL, or Royal Caribbean Limited. I took a cruise like 2 years ago. I loved it. I just thought, it's COVID, the price was so cheap. I'm gonna believe that at some point we're gonna wanna go party on the cruise ship again. It's gonna be worth something in the long-term future. But in the immediate, probably next year or two, there's not gonna be a long line of people that wanna go on a boat with thousands of people standing next to each other. So I bought some for $36. As of last Friday, Royal Caribbean is $56. So I've actually made some money on Royal Caribbean. I haven't sold it, and I'm gonna keep it for the long term, as I mentioned. It's a stock that always kind of held an average over like $100 for like the last 2 years before this happened. It's great that I have made some money so far. Well, that's the end of my video for this week. I hope that there was some really good information that you guys can learn from. You know, I kind of opened up a little bit of what I actually invest in. You know, make sure that you like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you, and until we guys talk again.